Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me again. My name is Natalie Walters. I am an insurance and investment advisor here in Ontario, Canada. And last week I had started a budgeting live series. Now, during that time, it was because, the reason why I started the live series is because of different conversations that I'm having with my current clients, conversations that I've been having with people in general that I'm meeting, and I felt that it was very important to share some of the information that I, focus on sharing with my clients, with you all here on Instagram. So if you're joining me, this is a short live series that I am doing for 6 weeks, and it's just to, provide a bit of education, a little bit of thought-provoking things that you can consider. It is not financial advice directed to you. I would suggest if you are having any challenges with your finances, it'd be best to meet with a professional such as myself. So as I said, I'm a licensed agent here in Ontario. So if you'd like to meet up, you just send me a DM or you can click the link in my bio and book an appointment. Now, welcome to anybody that's here. Hi, Gifty. Hey, Josh. How are you? I hope you had a great day. Last week, I went over the mindset, getting ourselves prepared to budget, because a lot of what I was hearing was based on stress, being overwhelmed, the price of the cost of living being high, some people having, lost jobs and having to find new jobs and not being able to gain the same amount of income. Just certain challenges that people are having, people who are now responsible for other family members that they didn't even expect to be responsible for. There's a lot of burden, right? And then I'm hearing from entrepreneurs who are saying, you know what, I'm starting a business to help supplement my income. But then with this new business that I'm starting, I'm having challenges with even maintaining that and my personal finance. Why? Because one, no research is done, a lot of spending is happening, and it's taking away from their ability to actually gain income, which is not what you're supposed to do. Research is very important when you're looking at gaining another stream of income to help yourself. Instead of just doing something, do the research. There are a lot of communities out there that will help you. There's also the internet, there's Facebook, there's YouTube, there's just people like in the community that will help you with developing a business strategy and help you with your research. So with that said, today's conversation, I left off with one assignment, and that was to use the free downloadable worksheet that I've created, and it is for you to do an assessment of your banking and credit transactions. So it's called Stacks and Splurges, and Stacks and Splurges is a digital worksheet where you can literally go onto your desktop or your phone. It's actually better from desktop because it's something that you're inputting information, and I don't believe it works through your phone. What you would do is pull up your accounts, you look at your statements, you have Stacks and Splurges. It will be reposted, so I will make sure I post it, and I'm going to share it to YouTube so that way anybody can check that out. But Stacks and Splurges allows you to pull up your accounts, have it in front of you on one device, or if you have a printed statement, and then you go through the sheet, and the sheet allows you to look at your your transactions, the different transactions that you have from your accounts. Now, if it's something that you're paying for that you need, such as your rent, your water, your utilities, your phone, your internet, I'm not saying to adjust that. I'm talking about those miscellaneous expenses that you notice are repetitive. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. So these are these miscellaneous expenses that are there, and it's like, oh my gosh, I really don't need that. That is more of something that I want. It's a habit that I have, and honestly and truly, I need to cut that habit out. But you're not even sure how much you're spending on these things. So the Stacks and Splurges worksheet is going to allow you to input these transactions, and then it's going to allow you to find money that you didn't even know you had. Because a lot of the time people say, have a good one. A lot of people say they don't have money for things. But what happens is there's money, but it's being spent on things that are not necessarily the need, the priority. So that calculation will allow you to see, okay, how much am I overspending and what is it that I can literally work on changing. Like if it's you're ordering for Uber Eats, or you're taking the Uber too often. I mean, we have public transportation. Sometimes the convenience will get you, right? I would say you want to go 2 months. Review the last 2 months, because I mean, it depends on, like, 3 months is good, but 2 months is also well. And I would even consider that school is starting and things are going to change. But do 3 months. 3 months is really good. And it should probably, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. That's another thing. Sometimes people feel like, oh gosh, I'm going to be stuck at my desk for a long period of time doing this. No, you can set yourself to say, okay, I'm going to dedicate 20 minutes to doing this thing. Make your environment comfortable. Make your time enjoyable. It's somewhat, right? Play some nice music. Look at that as self-care, that you're taking the time to work on your finance. Yes, it may be a reality of looking at the numbers that you don't necessarily want to see, but the point is that you want to change something. A lot of people say they want to change, and the thing is that change comes with sacrifice and also just doing the work that doesn't necessarily feel as good as we want it to. So with that said, Stacks and Splurges, it's a free downloadable worksheet. It's on my website, but I can also make it available and easy for you to click on my stories, or Gifty, I can actually send you the link. But yes, so use Stacks and Splurges. That's a preliminary activity that I would say to use, because that's going to allow you to say, okay, you know what, I'm thinking that I don't have, but I have. And if I need more, no problem. Now I can plan on what I need to do to gain more income, right? So yes, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I have it printed. So it's the items. You're going to put what it is, the type of expense that it is. You're putting the date, because sometimes you're going to recognize, oh my gosh, within 3 days, I've used so much money on that particular thing, right? And that's unnecessary. So I need to cut back. And if it's important, you feel that you're not willing to cut it back, well, then I need to adjust my income to make sure that I'm able to maintain that particular lifestyle. You put the amount, and then here is where you're going to put it as a want or a need, because we need to figure out, okay, if I don't have life insurance, if I don't have any savings for investments, I don't have any investments coming out, any funds coming out of my paycheck towards my future, like retirement planning, I'm not putting any money aside, well, then that's where you're going to find those funds, from those things that are actually not necessarily a need, right? So that's what we're looking at. Stacks and Splurges, get your copy, right? So I've created a budgeting workbook, and the workbook is available to you. It's so much of a detailed breakdown of your finances. Now, the book was a digital book, but it's also printed now. It's available on print. And the first thing we need you to do is to go through the income. What are your streams of income? There are various types of income that people have coming in. There's employment income. Some people it's government assistance. Some people it's the investments, the dividends from an investment. Some people they're living off of their pension. Some people it's the self-employment. It's whatever stream of income. And some people are getting alimony, child support, and all of those things. But we need to figure out how many streams of income do you have coming in on a monthly basis. Now, for some, you would notice on 1 month, your income comes in and it's this much. But then another month comes in and it's fluctuating. You need to be paying attention to that, because that's what helps to know, okay, how do I prioritize the way that I'm doing my budget for the following month, right? So we're going to calculate the different streams of income that you have. So knowing the deposit date is important. When is this income coming in? Now, if you are working, some people get their paychecks every 2 weeks, every month. Every 2 weeks, every week. It all depends on how your income comes in. Hey, welcome. For some people, it could be if it's child support or if it's some type of benefit, government benefit, it comes in one time a month. So with that one time a month, you got to be really strategic on how you're making this work. But really what's most important is how much is coming in. And this is after taxes, right? Because that's going to allow you to know how much do you have to spend, right? So that's the income tracker. We want to be able to track our incomes every single month. Now, you always hear, and I don't know if you've heard this, but it's that pay yourself first, which is really what we don't do. But we make the excuse that we have to pay everybody else. But really and truly, who's in control of what we're doing? We are. So if you are looking to change and really, for myself, I'm going into retirement years. Some people are going into they're in their early 20s, going into, mid-adult age. That's their plan. That's their focus. But I'm going into my retirement years. So paying myself first, if I wasn't doing it years prior, then it's time to do it now. And it's time to amplify how much we are putting into paying ourselves first, or else when it comes down to the stream of income that comes from the government benefits, it's not all of that. It's not a lot of money. It's a hard life off of just depending on government assistance for survival. We already see what the cost of living is. So why not amplify the amount of retirement income or money that you will have in your later years by making sure that you do pay yourself first? Now, I know there's a question of, well, do I pay off my debt first, or do I, put away money and invest for my long term? Well, everybody's situation is not the same. So when there is conversations on social media and some people look at a small post, a small clip, and they listen to someone and they feel like that's what they're supposed to do, that does not necessarily mean it is best for you. The amount of debt that you have, the amount of interest that you're paying, the amount of income that you have, your lifestyle, your responsibilities are different than most people. So it's very important that you get a tailored analysis and plan based on your situation, which will allow you to know, okay, so I can still put money away for myself, but at the same time, I can also make sure that I am planning for my future. If I do have debt, how much do I have? How long is it going to take me to pay it off? How much interest am I paying if I wait longer? And if I can do this thing really quickly by picking up another job or doing something that can help me to pay this off faster, that would be great, right? So making sure that you know that, listen, not every method is a method that applies to you. And that's very, very, very important. But when it comes down to it, it's like, what type of accounts do I need? So you always want to put your finances. It's always best. We want to save on taxes because we make money, they tax it. We spend money, they tax it. When we pass away, they're going to tax us, right? So putting our money into tax sheltered accounts are very important. The reason why is because at least these accounts will allow you to have different vehicles that you can use to invest your money. So you have the tax-free savings account, the RRSP. You also have there's a first-time home buyers account, and that's new. That's for home buying. That is for that particular reason. So with that said, it's always important to use and maximize the amounts that are available to you in these accounts. Now, how do we know how much is available? CRA. The CRA website has everything available to you. My amount available and your amount available is different because who knows? I could be contributing for years and then stop, right? But there's a certain amount that I have put into that account. So my amount is being reduced. If you have not contributed, then you may have a vast window of opportunity to put money away in these tax sheltered accounts. Don't forget about life insurance. Now, I know that life insurance is such a sensitive topic. You see, honestly, it's such a sensitive topic. People don't want to talk about it, but honestly and truly, we have to. whether it's term insurance, whether it's a permanent insurance, whether it's a disability insurance, a critical illness insurance. Every type of insurance has its benefits and features for your, and I'm going to continue to say your individual situation, right? But the thing is, there is the opportunity to also have an investment vehicle in your life insurance when you have a participating policy, right? A permanent policy that will allow you to do that. And I'm not going into that right now, but at the same time, I'm letting you know that that is another way for you to do investing. And that's also a tax sheltered opportunity. But it's very unique. So you have to meet with someone who is licensed, someone who's able to provide you the education that you need, someone that is able to work with you, knowing that where you're starting and where you want to grow to is different. And it's something that is always interchanging, right? I know that for myself and a lot of my clients, when they get these permanent policies at a later age, it's very hard to pour a lot of money in to do that type of investing in their life insurance. However, there's still benefits of starting and having the growth as a supplement income in your retirement years. And that is, if you're interested in learning about that, that's definitely something that we can talk about. But when it comes down to it, there's RESP. So even for our children, we can start to set our children up with financial, like their own little financial plan early. So I know there are some advisors who would say, don't get your kids their own policy, but I would say definitely get them their own policy. Lock in their health, their insurability, their opportunity to get a permanent policy where there is growth, where there's these benefits to them at an early age, where they now can actually pull from that account and say, yes, you know what? My mom set me up when I was younger. So really and truly, I have this coverage. It's here. I understand what it is. And I even want to add more or continue to grow it over time. They can even benefit from using it, right? There's also the education savings plan, where we know that if you put money into the education savings plan, it is for educational purposes. And the government, depending on how much you put in, they have a system on how much, whatever percent that they're willing to give you. Now, if you have access to this type of account for your youth, that is another way of setting them up beneficially for education. So when it comes down to it, they don't necessarily have to draw on loans for their education, right? They can also use that money to, if say they decide they don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I want to do this, that, and that. Well, the money is there. You will get some type of interest from it, but at the same time, the government's going to pull back their money. They're not going to give that to you. They're going to give you what you put in with a little interest, and then from there on, you can give your child whatever it is if you choose to do that, because at the end of the day, it's your money, right? But I think you would want to help your kid out if they choose to say, I'm not going to go to school, I want to do this. Still, you might, I don't know, because honestly, I hear some parents say some things, and it's not me to say, but I'm saying I would, you know what I mean? Yeah, so making sure that there are different savings. So we have to pay ourselves first. Now, what does that look like for you? Very, very, it's a unique situation. How do we determine putting away money for retirement? Now, there's different investment vehicles that people will use. There's real estate, Mr. I, Real Estate Daily, Shireen, Jay, they're on the call, or they were on the call. And at the same time, real estate, you will hear a lot about building wealth through real estate, right? And if you are building wealth through real estate, then you want to make sure that you are protecting your asset. You want to make sure you're protecting your asset. You want to make sure that you understand the intricacies behind having a personal property and investment properties. Sometimes a lot of people will make moves. They'll be doing things and not know that there's capital gains and certain things that have to be paid upon death. If things aren't structured properly. So not only are we supposed to be looking at savings and planning and putting away money, it's good to have a will. It's good to have a trust. And it all depends. Which one is better for you, a will or a trust? Now, I want to, in this live series, I do want to have one of the estate lawyers come on to explain a will and a trust, because when it comes to those big investments and you want to transfer it, people buy these properties, one, for their retirement. So that's their safety net. That's their way to say, okay, I'm going to sell this property at this time and I'm going to be able to live off of my gains from my real estate investment portfolio. However, some people will say, you know what, I'm not going to buy a home, but I'm investing in stocks, bonds, crypto, whatever that is. And that's how they want to live. At the end of the day, we have to make sure our things are protected. So that way it's that transfer of wealth. It's not going to get stuck where the government says, oh, there's no directions here and there's a lot of money on the table. Let us take control of what's happening here and let you family members get whatever is available to you after we decide. No, if we have a will, if we have a trust, and we even start to learn about these things, it doesn't necessarily cost the most. I've spoken to different people who do educate and provide these type of services. It all depends on what you have. What's your portfolio like? And sometimes you may feel like you don't have the most, so why get that? But at the same time, why not learn about it, right? So when it comes to paying yourself first, I would say more than anything else and starting to spend and do all of the rest of the things, let's look at the different ways that we can pay ourselves first, not just for the later, but just also making sure that now and in between, we have our protection, we have our growth, we have our opportunities that just in case, everything is being transferred properly. And at the same time, when you lock in at a young, early age, it is a lot less expensive. The longer we wait, the more expensive things get, right? Because also, the older you get, a lot of your income decreases. You're not going to be working the same. Right now, I know I'm speaking to people who are in their late 50s and they're looking for a supplement income. And even them are like, or they want to change employment and they're saying it's very hard because really and truly, the younger generation is coming in and the jobs are going to them, or they feel that there's some type of discrimination based on age for the positions that they want. Even though they physically may be able, they may mentally have the capacity, there is, and I've heard it from a lot of people, there's a little bit of discrimination. So when it comes down to it, try to lock everything in early, get them at a good rate, so that way you're not stressed and having it to do it later on in life where it becomes expensive and could be unattainable, because I've also seen that, right? Let me see, what else? Once you are decided, like you've gone through stacks and splurges, you've wrapped your mind around everything, you're doing the activities, you set aside a time and a day to really review your finances, then I would say, what's wrong with a vision board? Nothing's wrong with a vision board. Maybe start creating, like, you can put it on your phone, you can do it on Canva, you can cut and paste. There's different ways to do vision boards. But I would really say do the legwork first on figuring out what is the plan, right? So when it comes down to it, okay, if I'm trying to achieve this in this many years, how many years is it going to take? How much do I have to put aside? Yada, yada, yada. And to be honest, that is not something that you can figure out easy. So it's best to work with an advisor who can help coach you through the process, who can help provide you with the knowledge. They can do the research on your behalf and then come back and present their findings to you. When it's time to present these findings, it's not based on one thing. You should always be provided options, right? And it is for you to take away the information that's provided to you from the advisor, from the financial professional, and assess, okay, so based on this, what I've said I want to do, I want these goals achieved within this amount of time, this in 5 years, this in 10 years, this is later on, way down the line. My numbers are like this. Okay, so if the numbers are like this and I know the numbers need to change, this means that I have to do certain things. One, maybe I need to change my job entirely. Maybe I need to get an additional job, whether it's part-time or another full-time. I'm knowing people that are doing double, like 2 full-time jobs, right? So if that's what it comes down to, then it's a decision that you would have to make. But at the same time, it's based on the information that you get back from this professional to say, look, here's the plan, follow the plan, this is what you will have, this is the trajectory that you're going to be going on. And in between, if anything, we will be in contact over the years, over a few months, and we'll review what's happening. The important part is that you work with someone who is available to review your goals with you on a regular basis. Sometimes you may need a little bit more of the hand holding. Some people, they want that accountability. They want to know that they're being supported because maybe they don't have somebody in their life that they can feel comfortable talking to about it. Well, as an advisor, I do that. I check on my clients every 3 months. How's it going? Where are you at? What's changed? Okay, if it hasn't changed, what can we do? What can you do? How can I help you? If it has changed, I clap them up. Kudos to you for achieving that goal. Let's keep going, right? It's not something that is easy. So at the end of the day, working with an advisor and based on the information that you've been giving, or something may change and you'd be like, okay, that was the plan originally, but now I want to do such, such, and such. And they can come to you and say, listen, then now you're going to have to modify this activity. This is what you're going to have to do. What changes your financial plan? If you have a life event, whether it's a sickness, an accident, those things will change how you're able to keep up with your goals, right? If you have a child, you have more children, you add on to your family, you get married, that will change your plan. And I know that when it changes the plan, it usually sometimes comes as a surprise. Some people plan, some people don't plan to extend family. Some people plan, in different ways, and it's like, okay, great. This is something that I'm going to be experiencing, but don't know what the financial challenges or expectations will be. But if you go back and you sit down and you have that a conversation, then it's like, okay, how do we pivot this plan to make sure that it's going to be able to align with the goals that I have later on, and at the same time take care of the life that I have now. Thank you for joining, who's ever tuned in right now. I've just gone over a few different things. What I'm doing with these lives is I am going to upload them later on YouTube, so that way you can watch the series. The series is going to be for 6 weeks. So I feel that I've given out enough information for today. What time is it? Oh, 12:30, perfect. So yes, I've provided enough information today, insights for you to think of. But the first activity from last week was going through stacks and splurges. And that is the sheet to help you with finding funds that you thought you didn't have in your accounts, recognizing the different activities that you have coming out of your accounts. Maybe there's something that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know they're still taking money from me. You make that phone call, you stop that payment. There's that money that sits in your account. If it's an activity that you know that you're spending too much on and you recognize, look, this is happening too often. I need to modify this. This is not important to me. I need to focus on these particular things. Then you're going to use stacks and splurges to get very clear and very mindful of these transactions. Make your moment with financial wellness for yourself comfortable. Play music. Have a little tea, have a little coffee. If you like a little wine, it's up to you. But just make sure that you put the time in. Set it for 20 minutes. If you want to do it 20 minutes on one day, with one account. If you have multiple accounts, do another account 20 minutes. If you have other accounts, do another 20 minutes. And then after, book another day and review all and looking to see how much money has been set aside or is available to you to achieve certain goals that you didn't even think you had, right? So here it is once again, Stacks and Splurges. It's a free downloadable worksheet for you to do a preliminary analysis of your financial transactions in your bank account. And it will tally everything up to let you know this is how much money that you're saying you have extra that's being spent on things that you don't necessarily need right now, but you definitely know you want. You're spending it on wants right now, but there are things that you need. So what you're going to do is actually use those funds to set yourself up properly. My name is Natalie Walters. Reset with Nat. It's about finance and personal development around here. So with that said, yesterday I made a post, and the post was just a post of encouragement, because honestly and truly, there are people going on with things inside of their lives that are very, very challenging, that makes some of this situation not necessarily a priority for them, but it is. It's still a priority, but because they're so overwhelmed, sometimes it's depressing, sometimes it's very frustrating. They don't even have the energy or the capacity to take it on. However, if you are looking for assistance with building out a financial plan, if you are like, I don't understand life insurance, I don't understand the different types of coverage, I don't know what would meet my financial need, I think because I have this sickness, or I was told I wouldn't get this, I was rejected for insurance back when, and I do think I need coverage, but blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm available. So all you got to do is click the link in my bio and you can book an appointment. You can also feel free to DM me. I'm not one of those people who will ignore the DMs. My DMs are not flooded. So it's like I can still look in there and respond to you. And then from there, we can have this one-on-one conversation. It is very important that we try to secure things now instead of waiting till later. So if you just joined me, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. This live is complete. I will be uploading within a few weeks, maybe this week. I don't know why I'm waiting so long. I'll upload it onto YouTube so that way you can watch the replay. All right. Thank you all. And I'll be back next week on Thursday at noon. These are lunch and learns. And I will continue on with what else we need to look at budgeting for. And we will be using your financial compass as the guide, and also referencing your free downloadable worksheet, Stacks and Spurges, which is available to you on the Reset with Nat website. Anyhow, it's Thursday, y'all. So what do they say? It's Friday, Junior. I'm wishing you a wonderful evening and a happy weekend. Take care. You know what? I should have asked you. Is there any questions? I'm sorry. I'm not used to that. You know what? I need to remember. Ask if there are any questions. Before I go, are there any questions? So if I don't see a question come up, then I'll end, but I will make sure that I remember to ask if there are any questions. You can put it in the question box, or you just type it in. Oh. All right, y'all, then I'm going to work. Have a wonderful afternoon.